Okay everybody, we're back again, working on, you guessed it, my favorite motorcycle in the world, TTR 125. Today we need to change the fork oil. I've owned this bike for about 4 and a half, 5 years almost, coming up on 5 years, and I think it's time to change the fork oil. Let's get to it. Alright, I got my 17mm socket on my impact. We're going to remove the front wheel and its axle. Then we're going to remove this clamp for the brake line. And then we're going to remove bolts for the brake caliper. And then we're going to just drape the brake caliper over to the side a little bit. Alright, let's get to it. Alright, let's get this axle nut off. A bit more power. It's going. And, well, I probably should have just gotten my ratchet out, but, proof of concept, I guess. Well, as you can see, there's the grease from last time I put it back in. Nothing to seize up on that one, eh? Well, I almost forgot my gloves. I got a little bit excited to start the video. Alright, got my impact with an 8mm socket. It's really the only 8mm on this bike. And we're just going to take off this little plastic clamp up here. Yeah, it wasn't even that tight, so let's get it all the way off. Alright, there's that. Alright, now we got a 5mm hex. Again, actually not that tight. Can't remember if I just didn't put these very tight or if they just have that low of a torque spec. I think I just put them in by hand last time. Well, you know you've been working on metric machinery for too long when you can tell these by just looking at them. You got a 10, a 12, and a 14. Well, and yeah, I do know what they are because I put them in my hand, but off screen I looked down, I was able to just pick this one up because I knew it was the 12 just looking at it. So yeah. Alright, got a 12 here on the impact, and we're going to take this caliper loose. So what I did figure out about this caliper, I don't remember if I said it in the previous video, was that it turned out the spongy brake was due to a loose front axle nut. And yeah, I tightened that up and then the problem went away magically. Oh no, the caliper's hanging by the brake line. It's gonna explode. Okay, there's my brake caliper. Works good. Well, that's a good place to put the brake caliper, you know, no bubbles are gonna get in the line, it's all good. Don't worry about it. I got a little bit of mud on here. Well, luckily I'm not servicing the internals. I'm really just going to be doing a fluid change, or at least that's what I plan on doing here, so hopefully it doesn't turn into something else, as sometimes things do. I'm just going to take out the front number plate so I can get to those top pinch bolts a little better. As you remember, I did put a torque wrench on these, so they're not over tight. Not over tightened, properly tightened. Professionally tightened. More power! Alright, I just want to loosen them up. Then I can get those top caps off. And I can also, I can back these off all the way so it doesn't pop in my face, hopefully. I haven't had these loosened since pretty much like the second day of owning this thing. They're not even tight. Yep, that's as far as that goes. Alright, do the same on the other side. I don't have a crescent wrench large enough to get these cap nuts off, so I had to resort to a tool that has saved my bum nuts many a day or time, and it's this little wrench right here. Yeah, I know, Canadian special. It's a good wrench though. You can put a pipe on it and get some extra leverage, but we'll see if I need that extra leverage this time. Let's see if I can not hit my hand. Oh, that wasn't even that tight. I probably could have just undone that with my hand. Alright, I think I got it enough. Let's get this one over here loosened. Okay, it's gonna need a little pop with a hammer. Make sure it's tight on there. Nope. That one's tighter. Oh, you know, I only slightly rounded it off. Oh, I'm just turning the... Wait a minute. How am I turning the whole fork? I'm turning the whole damn fork. What the fuck? Okay, so somehow I'm turning the whole fork, and I don't understand why. Maybe I didn't get my clamp bolt on the bottom tight enough. That's kind of scary. Because I did torque wrench those. You, I think, are a turd. Yep, there we go. Well, that's why they call it the Canadian Special. I don't know if I can get this off now. tighten up that bottom pinch bolt. I don't know if I'm getting it, but we'll see. I can't tell if I'm getting it or not. That top bolt is loose, so I don't know what the dealio is. Alright, well I had to get my wrench and really tighten on that one a lot and give it some more hammerings. I accidentally slipped off a little bit there, but I got it loose. So we'll take these bottom pinch bolts off and we'll drop one fork at a time. Alright, there's my right fork. You can see a little bit of galling happening there when I was turning the fork inside the clamp. I really don't understand that. It's really strange. You can see some like moisture up on this top one. I guess maybe I did put some kind of grease on there last time, didn't I? And of course there's the lovely Canadian special track marks because, you know, let me see about getting this cap all the way off and let's see if I can't not, you know, hurt myself in the process. As it turns out, it's going to be a 22 and I got this little pass-through socket. See if I can get this cap off without it popping into my face. It might not actually be a problem. Yeah, like, see, I can just push that down with my 2 fingers. Oh yeah, there we go. That's just a little preload device right there. Hopefully that's in frame enough. It doesn't smell that bad. It even has like a pink tinge to it. There's a little speck of some emulsified dirt. And there's the spring. Ta-da! Yeah, you can hear the damping. Cool. Alright, well I'll see about getting this spring taken out, and then I'll get to the drain pan. I got a little cup here. I'm just curious to see what this fluid actually looks like. See about putting some in here. I mean, at first glance, it doesn't look too bad. A little bit brown, actually, but there's definitely particles in there. Like, there's some white particles, and maybe that's a little bit of dirt on there, but this was pretty clean. I'm going to be replacing this oil with 10 weight, or whatever Maxima's equivalent of 10 weight is. It supposedly comes with 5 weight, so since I'm heavier than the recommended rider, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit thicker oil in it. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and drain the rest of this oil out into my drain pan. Yeah, let's not. Probably gonna have to pull it or hold it or something like that to keep it from running out all over the place. Although I do have to pump it a couple times, so I'm probably gonna have to just pull this freaking spring off here, even though it's covered in oil, unfortunately. Maybe if I pull it out slower. Not really sure how I'm gonna put it in a place that won't get dirty. Oh, that's it. Oh, that's it. That's the little spring. Alright, let me put this spring off to the side. Okay, got my fresh new oil. It's on a little bit of an angle, but I did pour out 150 milliliters. This fork is specified for this L model bike to take 159, and I'll add the other 9 milliliters when I get my level gauge and syringe. But this is the right side fork, as we saw when I left off. My GoPro died, and we're gonna add the oil now. All right, here we go. I'm gonna let this drip out for a little bit. Make sure I get most of all that oil in there. Some air bubbles in there, just getting purged out. Oh, I almost burped a little bit out of the top there. Well, I think I might have just converted my TTR into an air fork. Get a load of this KTM. It's got a little bit of sag in it, but that's just perfect. Yeah, check that out. Air fork. Well, not really. It's just whatever air pressure is being sealed in by the cap. I don't have the inner spring in it right now, but I think the damping feels like it should, and maybe it's a little bit stiffer initially. Pretty much exactly what I wanted. So, all right, this is the right fork done. I'll go ahead and open up the, well, actually I already drained the oil out of the left fork while I'm waiting for my GoPro to charge up because it's dead. So I think what I'll do is I'll take this one out of here. I'll put the left fork in the vise and we'll go ahead and get that one filled up as well. All right, here we go. I just thought I would go ahead and show me putting the spring back in. And then all I have to do is just pull the outer or the inner tube. I just have to pull the inner tube up to meet that and then screw the cap in. All right, I'll go ahead and get this cap reinstalled. I'll snug it down as much as I can. I won't be able to tighten it up until I put it back in the triple clamps. I'm gonna move on to the left fork. Gonna do the same here. Add 150 milliliters of the oil plus another 9 milliliters in my syringe, and it's gonna be set to a depth from the top of this 125 millimeters down. Then I'll pull the syringe back, and wherever it sucks air is where the oil level is supposed to be. Okay, we got the left fork in here. Got 150 milliliters of oil. Go ahead and crack this open. Well, I'm gonna let that drizzle out for a little bit. Okay, so I just previously added in the 150 milliliters of fork oil, and I've got an extra 10 milliliters in here, and I've got my depth gauge set to 125 millimeters from the top inner tube compressed fully, and I have this leveled out in a vise, my little rag there to hopefully not scratch up the aluminum. And I got 10 milliliters in here, so I'm gonna add all of the oil, and then I'm gonna pull back whatever I can, and wherever it stops is where the level is supposed to be. Okay, I just finished adding the top up and got it to 125 millimeters set from the top here, fully compressed all the way down to somewhere around here, and full of oil. I haven't bled it yet, but I'll go ahead and do that. I will reinstall the spring, and I'll put the cap back on, and then I think I'll be ready to reinstall these into the motorcycle. All right, here we go. Got the forks reinstalled. I tightened down these bottom pinch bolts just enough so I could get these top caps torqued down. I can't get a torque wrench in there, can't get a socket in there, so I just took my mallet and my adjustable wrench and tapped it as tight as I thought it needed to go. I shouldn't have any issues. I mean, as an additional, these kind of act as a clamping mechanism for this. That's why I have to loosen these to get these loose. So that's why I did that. I'm not worried about these top caps coming off at all. At some point, I'm also gonna have to replace this top boot. Well, actually, yeah, the top boot, the accordion boot. The one over there is not as bad. For some reason, this one here, there's a split right there starting. And all along here is all kind of dry rotted. I think that's actually a hole right there. Or no, that's just a piece of, that's just shadow. Yeah, I don't know why they're doing that. It's only 5 years old. All right. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna put the front wheel in so that I can get these forks aligned properly, and then I'll start reassembling the front end. Maybe my GoPro will be charged up by then. Here we go. Okay, fully reassembled. Fork fluid has been changed, all the bolts have been torqued. I torqued the axle nut this time to 30 foot-pounds. I torqued these bolts here for the brake caliper to 20 foot-pounds. And these I just went, and this one I tightened by hand to these ones up here I tightened to but these ones did 25 foot-pounds on both sides. Then I came back and I went ahead and took it to 36 foot-pounds. My torque wrench doesn't go above like 36.9, so that's what I went ahead and did. These were torqued to like 25 before, but now looking in the book it says 43 foot-pounds on these, which just seems ridiculous. So I went in right in the middle of where I was before, and it should be just fine. Reinstall the number plate, the wheel. I'm gonna have to put the new tires on these and the new inner tubes on these. This front tire still likes to leak down. I guess it's like old enough to where it doesn't want to grip on the rim, and it slips a little bit and it lets more air out, and then it slips a bit more and lets more air out. So yeah, the front brake's working just fine because I made sure to make sure that that axle bolt is tight, and then it gives me a good lever feel. All right, I've got some winter sledding content that'll probably be coming down the pipe. Just gotta figure out what to do with it, and I think that'll be a lot more fun than just watching me wrench around in the garage, but this definitely has its place. As I showed in a video a couple months ago, I installed this BBR frame cradle, as well as that BBR chain guide. There's a lot of other good things coming for this motorcycle. I'm going to be putting a big bore kit in, as well as a larger carburetor. If this is the end of the video, this is the end of the video. I might as well just say my, end speech here. If you enjoyed the video, well, give it a like. If you got any questions, write a comment. And if you like my other content and want to see future content, consider subscribing. I would much appreciate every subscription I get. So, if you own a TTR 125, need help with your TTR 125, don't feel afraid to put it in the comments, ask me a question. I'll probably be able to answer the question for you.